Let's talk about assertions. An assertion is a simple check to see if our application gives us the expected result. For example, as we covered in the last lesson, when we call the add function, we expect it to give us 4. An assertion is us comparing the result of the operation with our expected results to see if it gives us the correct value. So, this right here is an assertion. If the result is equal to the expectation, then our test pass. But else, it's going to throw an error. Most of the time, we are going to have our expected and compare the expected with the result. So if result is equal to the expected output, then console.log test passed, else throw an error. For us to write more advanced assertions, we can get the assert module from Node.js. So would require assert. And now with the assert module, we no longer need to write such basic assertions. We can say assert.equal, and as I'm typing, you can follow the definition of this function. It takes in the actual and the expected and takes in an optional message. If you want, you can go to the documentation of this function and see it right there. It takes in an actual, an expected, and a message. And the actual in this case is actually our result. So assert.equal result and the expected. And if we run our test, node add.spec, we have a successful response, which means the test pass. But if somebody changes our application code and uses a minus sign instead of a plus sign, when we run our test, we have an assertion error that says -2 is equal to 4. So this is where our error is coming from. Instead of a plus, it's giving us a minus. And we can also pass a custom message to this saying that add function does not work properly. And now, if we run our test, we have the message that says add function does not work properly. So that's it. With our assertion module, we can assert.equal a result is actually equal to the expected. There's also a bunch of assertions we can have. So if I command click on the equal function, you can see there is an OK function, there is an equal function, there is a not equal function to make sure two values are not the same. There is a deep equal to compare if an object deep equals another, and so many bunch. We can even assert that a block of code throws an exception or does not throw an exception. So there's a lot of assertions we can perform. But remember, an assertion helps us check if our expected output is the same as our actual result.